Father Thomas Pudasheri, Mia ma'am, Julia ma'am, and Kaden and everyone present here. A warm good afternoon. I had the chance, or I was very fortunate in translating my book, Repare les Vivants, in Malayalam. And it is, I must say that it is for the first time that I am translating something into Malayalam. And when Green Book publishers contacted me, I told them that my Malayalam is not that good. Yes, I speak Malayalam very well, but then the written form, the literary form, I don't know, I'm not sure because I've not done it till now. And I think I'm well versed in English, and better in English than Malayalam. So they made me translate 5 pages first, and I told them this is what I can do, and they said it is fine. And that's how I started my work. And I must say that doing translation for the very first time for a novel, what I found was that Repare les Vivants, I'm not going to tell you the story, it's up to you to read it, but the main character is Simon. And while I was doing the translation, as I was telling Mylis, every day, each and every morning, when I woke up, it is like someone whom I know is in hospital, is in danger, or what can I say? Simon was someone very close to me, and I got the feeling that I am living through that story. Every day, every time something is not right, because when I am going through that story, it is the same thing. And regarding Mylis' work, what I have to say is, as Madame Julia said, she has gone very in-depth into her work. Whatever it is, this is the scientific fiction, and when she's writing about the medical field, all the terms, technical terms, all the things, the emotions which people go through when we are in such a situation, and when something, it is about a heart transplant, and the moment when it is being transplanted, all that has very great effects when you read it in French. I did my best to translate it into Malayalam, but I don't know if you, I'm sure you will not get the same feeling when you read it in Malayalam as when you read it in French, because in French, the sentences, the words, it carries lots of emotions. It was very difficult to find the apt word or to reflect the same emotion in Malayalam. It was a hard task, but I must say I took 1 year to complete it. But then it was nice, and I'm very fortunate that I am able to meet the author in person. I never hoped that I will ever meet her. When I was translating, I had so many questions, or I felt like I have to ask her so many things. But I never hoped, I never dreamt that I will ever meet her. But then I'm very happy that she is here, and I thank Chavara, the Institut Français, Alliance Française, for giving me an opportunity. Thank you.
Next, मुख्य प्रभाषण है keynote address ms.Kaylis, please.
Hello everyone. I first want to thank Father Thomas Pudasheri for his hospitality in this Chavara Cultural Centre, and I also want to thank Mea and Shoba to be here with me, and of course our Kerala French team, Manuel and Julia. We are traveling together since now quite a week, and so I was very, it was for me a marvelous novel to be invited in Calicut and in Chennai to present my books, especially in Calicut, to present this translation in Malayalam. It's very unusual for a French author to be translated in that language, and for us, team from France, it's quite magic. So I'm very touched to have the opportunity to meet the translator, the person who gave my book a Malayalam language to present. So thank you very much. I would like to present you briefly this novel. It is the story of a heart transplant, so the strange journey 24 hours from a body to of a heart, from a body to another body. So during one day and one night, a young boy, 19 years old boy named Simon, on morning he's going on surfing with friends, and at the end of the station he has a van accident, and then he fell in coma. And there is the possibility to harvest his organs and to transplant them into other bodies. And all the novel tries to follow this, strange journey, the trajectory of that organs, and how this heart, this young man heart, is going to pass through many hands, and nurse, surgery, and also researcher, all the people of which are working in the biomedicine agency in France. That is the institution who tries to make a combination between an organ and a body in terms of molecular specificities. And I really focused on that trajectory, a body, another body, and 24 hours to take a heart and put him from that young boy body to this woman, because his heart is going to enter the body of a 50 years old woman, and he is 19 years old. So I liked very much this distinction between donator and receiver. I was very interested also about what is to die, in fact. I discovered when I was writing the book that I do not know nothing about the definition of death. In France, we used to think that the heart beating is the mark of life in a body. You are alive if your heart is beating. But in fact, in 1956, this definition has changed, and I even do not know that the definition of death was existing. I mean, you need to define what is death, because you are dead or you are not. But it doesn't, in my mind, it did not need a definition. In fact, of course, there is a definition, very strict. And this definition has changed in 1956. And now in France and in many countries of Europe, you are dead if your mind is dead. If your mental activities is dead, you are dead. But so it is not rather in the heart, but in the day that death occurs. And this was quite an epistemologic revolution. In fact, it changed everything. So at each point of this journey, I tried to catch universal question: what is to be between life and death? What is to die? What is empathy? Because I tried to focus also on Simon's mother and father, who are major protagonists of these stories. I was very cautious to try to transmit what could be the pain of the loss of a child, but without being too dramatic, and just I wanted to be at the right place when I was writing. I was very cautious of that. And for me, this writing, this book was both work of try to combine emotions, very strong emotions, and universal emotion also, but also very precise and detailed operation that appeals to many humans around an organ. I've chosen to focus on the heart because in our Occidental culture, art is the place of love in our body. I mean, it's in our language, it's very connected to love. I mean, in terms of organ. In other culture, it is in perhaps the stomach or I don't know where, but in France, the heart is also the meaning of love, and it is the place of your affect. It symbolizes all the affect in your body. So it's not an organ as the other ones, it's also the sign of love, the picture of love, the symbol of love. And for me it was very interesting because this word heart has a very special place in our culture. You have in medieval ages all the movements at the beginning of the fiction, the birth of the fiction, the birth of the novel. It is about love because it has been created by all men who wanted to give their heart to the princess, to the lady. We call it l'amour courtois. And l'amour courtois is completely connected to the birth of fiction, the birth of novel. Not literature, but novel. And so it was also important for me to focus on that word, which means also that literature can happen when you are focused on heart. And also I was very interested by in all my books. I'm very interested by science topics and also precision and details, and how literature can be also a tool for knowing the world where we are living. You know, when I was a teenager, I realized that I read a lot, but it was not to escape the world, it was to be in the center of it, rather than know what's happening in the world. And so I was very grateful, I am still very grateful to it was French novelists or British novelists, American ones, that have been very focused on details of ordinary lives, and also try to they give us the knowledge of our life in the past. And this connection between literature and knowledge is very important for me. I think that you have to, reading is a way of thinking the world. I don't separate the two things. For me, it's very important, and when I was writing this book, I was very interested by how, on a concrete plan, I was able to describe very precisely what was an art transplant, even in all the medical gesture or the medical process, and all the inventions that appears on all the things you have to do, and all the processes. And I think that details for me are very, very important because they are the point of connection between knowledge and imagination. If I think that knowledge is very important, it's because for me, documentary research can fulfill the book, but it also allowed me to imagine. You know, the more I am documented, the more I can imagine my book, the more I can go to fiction and emancipate my fiction. But it's free my imaginaries, you know. And for me, it was very important to work in that way. So all the details, for me, details is a little point that connected knowledge and imagination, and that's happened here. So it is very a detailed book, but it is not detailed to be detailed. I mean, to be scientist. I am not a scientist, but the language of science was very important in this book because I wanted to restitute how you speak when you are in a surgery block, when you are waiting for news from your child, when you are asking news, and what was, because in France also, but perhaps everywhere, the language of surgery, the language of physician, are the language of power, because the language of knowledge, and in front of them you don't know nothing, so you are dominated. And I wanted to restore this feeling to be overwhelmed by medical knowledge and what happens in hospital. And also I wanted to give hope, because to end my presentation, I would like to say that the whole point of this book is to give an example of what is to give, what is the donation, what is to give, and in a very special way. In France, we have a very important anthropologist named Marcel Mauss, and in work he has written a very strong essay named Essay on what is to give, Essai sur le don. And he says that in very all the culture you have a don and you have a contre-don. I mean, you have to give something and in return you are receiving something. But in that case, in the case of the harvest of the organ, of that kind of donation, it's a very special and for me incredible way of giving something to the other, because it's anonymous, it's free, you don't have to pay, and you will have nothing in return. So when you analyze that kind of jest, you are in front of something that perhaps it's very important to know that that kind of things exist in humanity. And for me, it was also I wanted to tell the story of what is to be linked to the other in a community, how an organ belonging to one individual can be given to go and repair others. And I was very impressed by knowing that parents accepted to give eyes, also skin and organs of their beloved ones, because I saw it, they were deprivatizing, that was the most private for them, you understand? So it's a reverse, it's against, liberalism, etc. And that march of capitalism, that is privatization of everything, and in that story, no, it's inverse. You give, you deprivatize, it's not belonging to you, but what is the most important for you. So that's why I tried to write this book. Thank you very much.
Like this sessions that you can ask questions or maybe doubts with the Julius, we will start. Okay? We will start with.
Next, I welcome this interaction. Name is Karangal. She is a writer from France, obviously, because I was France in Rwanda. We welcome French writers. Does not always have to be from France, can be a francophone country also, but she is from France. I welcome ms. Karangal, who was actually here for the Kerala Literary Festival in Calicut. She's come directly from there for this function here, and she's accepted our invitation to come and speak to you about her books. She's written numerous novels, short stories, novellas, narratives, of which one of them has been translated into Malayalam by Shobha. She's also here, definitely you get to hear from her. And it was published by one of the publishers here in Kerala. So I welcome you, ma'am, on behalf of Alliance Kochi. I think it's your first visit to Kerala, to India? First visit to India? Is that right?
My second.
Second visit to India, to Kerala?
No, first time it was in Kerala.
Okay, Kerala?
Yes, first in
Kerala. Okay, yeah. Okay. So warm welcome to you on behalf of Alliance Française. We also have Juliette Thieu, who is part of the French Embassy Institut Français. She's in charge of attaché pour.
Est-ce qu'il y avait des personnes proches qui ont traversé la même expérience comme mentionné dans le roman? What inspired you to write this novel? And did you have any relatives or friends who underwent the same experience?
Thank you for this question. In fact, when I wrote this book, I was experiencing the loss of my father, and he lost from a heart attack very brutal. And it fell suddenly. It was what we call a heart attack. And I was, and some weeks and months later, I was thinking of what really was this house. Because I was very impressed by the image that house that is falling, and I think it gave me the track to write that book, but it was not harvested, and I did not know people. I did not know people that happens to them, and I think that I was very excited by also write a novel, a true novel with protagonists, with situation, with heroes and ordinary people and heroes. But at the same time, having perhaps giving the opportunity to have a reflection of that kind of process that happens in our contemporary world. That I've said, how is to live, how is to belong to a community, because I also made research of what, because it was not allowed to open the body, and also in the Christian culture, it was forgotten. Even if you can see some big frames of Rembrandt that's in the leçon d'anatomie, but in fact it was not under in that process. There is a point, very black point, very obscure, that is the surgery of harvesting, because we all know that it is to receive and how it's transplanting, re-implanting a heart, but before you have to harvest. You have to harvest that body. And this operation was very, for me, was quite mysterious, because it is how is our body inside, and we never know, we never see how we are inside, just behind our skin. We do not know. We can have an entire life without seeing that. And this was about human body and also politics. Of what is to be part of a community. I was wondering if that organs that you are giving to the organ to a common pot, and then they are transmitted to people you will never meet, you will never know. And that kind of operation is still for me a very stimulating operation to think about. If you have questions, I can answer if you want to ask questions.
Why did you prefer a 19-year-old boy and a 50-year-old woman led recipient? Why?
19 years old boy and 50 years old lady.
Yes, because I want, because in reality it happens like that. It is not woman to woman or man to man, and it is not young to old or old. If your organs are okay, you can be harvested. And I thought it was much more interesting to see that a young surfer, a young beautiful surfer, 19 years old, can give to a middle-aged woman, to the opportunity to continue her life. And it was much more original than in that sense, and for me. And I also wanted to say that it was for me a way to say that there is no limit for the body. You can give to the first operation, the first heart transplant happened in South Africa. It was Dr. Barnard. I don't know if you know that. And he was the first man to realize that transplantation. And in South Africa at that time it was an apartheid very strong between, as you know, between whites and black people. And the first person to be transplanted was a black people, in fact. And so it's also to go over the limits of our very narrow-minded, it's more powerful than that. I thought it was better.
Thank you.
How long did it take for you to write the novel? How long did it take?
It took me a year to write it. Yes, between quite exactly 1 year. July to July 1 year.
The research, the imagination.
Yes, I always do the research while I am writing, not before, because I think that your book is driving you to the material unit, and you don't have to think about it before. It's shaped too much the novel to give to your sentences an organic breath. I mean, something not too scholar. You have to start to go to dive in fiction, and then you are following. I mean, perhaps it's important to be aware of what is obscure, what you don't know, and when you reach that point, you can do your research. And for me, researching is to find what I could call as the reporter on in war, to find a fixers, and someone who knows the language of the place you are interested by. So I try to meet someone who was, as Thomas Hamish in the book, I mean, the man who is going to organize all the process. I mean, in France we call coordinator, and he will coordinate all the harvesting of the organs. And when I was working on the building of the bridge, I wanted to find and to meet engineers, and when I was working on my book on painting, I would like to meet people that have painted a replica of prehistoric caves. And I think it's a part of my epopee to find people that can give me clues and also make me hear the language that is spoken in that domain I don't know anything about before beginning to write. You understand? And so it's quite long, but it's not too long this one, but it's 1 hour.
Ce qu'est le cœur de Simon Limbe, ce cœur humain, depuis que sa cadence fait accélérer à l'instant de sa naissance quand d'autres cœurs au dehors accéléraient d'eux-mêmes, saluant l'événement. Ce qu'est ce cœur, ce qui l'a fait bondir, vomir, grossir, valser léger comme une plume ou peser comme une pierre, ce qui l'a étourdi, ce qui l'a fait fondre, l'amour. Ce qu'est le cœur de Simon Limbe, ce qui l'a filtré, enregistré, archivé, boîte noire d'un corps de 20 ans, personne ne le sait au juste. Seule une image en mouvement créée par l'ultrason pourrait en envoyer l'écho, en faire voir la joie qui dilate et la tristesse qui resserre. Seul le tracé papier d'un électrocardiogramme déroulé depuis le commencement pourrait en signaler la forme, en décrire la dépense et l'effort, l'émotion qui précipite, l'énergie prodiguée pour se comprimer près de 100 000 fois par jour et faire circuler chaque minute jusqu'à 5 litres de sang. Oui, seule cette ligne-là pourrait en donner un récit, en profiter la vie de flux et de reflux, vie de vannes et de clapets, vie de pulsations. Quand le cœur de Simon Limbe, ce cœur humain, lui, échappe aux machines, nul ne saurait prétendre le connaître, et cette nuit-là, nuit sans étoiles, alors qu'il gelait à pierre fendre sur l'estuaire du pays de Caux, alors qu'une roue sans reflet roulait le long des falaises, alors que le plateau continental reculait, dévoilant ses rayons géologiques, il faisait entendre le rythme régulier d'un organe qui se repose, d'un muscle qui lentement se recharge, un pouls probablement inférieur à 50 battements par minute. Quand l'alarme d'un portable s'est déclenchée au pied d'un lit étroit,
l'écho d'un sonar inscrivant en bâtonnet luminescent sur l'écran tactile les chiffres 0550 et quand soudain tout s'est emballé.
കുറേ വസ്ത്രം തല മറയ്ക്കാനുള്ള കട്ടിയുള്ള വസ്ത്രങ്ങൾ കൈയുള ചെരുപ്പുളകൾ തോൾവാർ അവർ മൂവരും തോളോട് തോൾ ചേർന്നിരിക്കുന്നു കൈകൾ ഒലിച്ച് അവരുടെ മടിയിൽ വെച്ച് അവർ ആർത്തു വിളിച്ചു ഹാരിന്റെ തണുപ്പ് കയ്യിലുണ്ടായിരുന്ന ഭക്ഷണം കഴിച്ചു വിറ്റാമിൻ ബാറുകളും ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നതും എല്ലാം കൂടി ഇപ്പോൾ കഴിക്കേണ്ടായിരുന്നെന്ന് അവർക്ക് തോന്നി സർഫിംഗ് കഴിഞ്ഞതിന് ശേഷം മതിയായിരുന്നു സീറ്റിനടിയിൽ സർഫിങ്ങിനെ കുറിച്ചുള്ള ഒരു മാഗസിൻ വാനിന്റെ ഡാഷ്ബോർഡിൽ വെച്ച് തോളോട് തോൾ ചേർന്ന് അവർ അതൊന്നും ഓടിച്ചു നോക്കി ആ മാസികയുടെ താളുകൾ പ്രകാശമേറ്റ ആകാശത്തെ പോലെ തിളങ്ങി സൂര്യരശ്മിയുടെ പ്രകാശത്താൽ തിളങ്ങുന്ന ശരീരം പോലെ 1000 വട്ടം വരച്ച താളുകൾ അവർ ഒരിക്കൽ കൂടി കണ്ണോടിച്ചു ചൂണ്ടുവിരൽ കൊണ്ട് അവർ ഒരു ചിത്രത്തിൽ തൊട്ടു അതാ അവിടെ ചിലപ്പോൾ അടുത്ത വേനലിൽ അവർ മൂവരും അവരുടെ വാനിൽ ഒരു ഇതിഹാസ സർഫിങ്ങിനായി ഒരിക്കൽ പോകും ഈ ഭൂമിയിൽ ഇന്നേ വരെ കാണാത്ത ഒരു തിര അന്വേഷിച്ച് അവർ പോകും ആ വന്യപ്രദേശം അന്വേഷിച്ച് ക്രിസ്റ്റഫർ കൊളംബസിനെ പോലെ പിന്നെയോ അവർ മാത്രമേ അവിടെ കാത്തു നിൽക്കുകയുള്ളൂ ആ തിര പൊങ്ങി വരുമ്പോൾ സമുദ്രത്തിന്റെ ആഴത്തിൽ നിന്നുദിക്കുന്ന ആ തിരമാല അർദ്ധവൃത്താകൃതിയിൽ പൂർണ്ണമായ സൗന്ദര്യമുള്ള ഒരു മനുഷ്യന്റെ ചിത്രം പോലെ
Merci beaucoup d'être venu jusqu'à nous. Vous avez donné très bonnes explications, quelque chose de très intense comme votre livre. Je l'ai lu quand il est sorti. J'ai dit à ma maman de le lire, j'ai dit à ma tante, à mes soeurs, à mes cousines, à mes amis, à tout le monde, à mon père de le lire. Et tout le monde a adoré. Je suis sûre que tout le monde dit exactement la même chose. Mais c'est vrai. C'est vrai. Comme vous l'avez dit, c'est une histoire très, très précise, mais en même temps totalement universelle. On peut faire l'expérience d'un drame, quelque chose qui nous touche, mais on peut aussi le transformer en quelque chose d'exceptionnel. Le temps dont vous parlez, et je pense qu'en plus, en Inde, on a une autre vision du temps qui est connectée, qui est différente, mais qui est connectée aussi avec cette universalité de donner, de recevoir, et de donner encore et de recevoir encore, ou de plus recevoir et de se sentir bien parce qu'on a donné. Et ça, c'est quelque chose qui transparaît dans votre livre en plus. Comme vous l'avez dit, je ne sais pas si c'est un hasard, mais la naissance d'un enfant, j'ai appelé votre livre pendant très longtemps, je l'ai appelé la construction d'un pont. Et quand vous parliez de la façon dont vous êtes devenu écrivain, ça a résonné en moi en me disant finalement je ne suis peut-être pas tellement trompée. Il y a quelque chose qui se construit, il y a quelque chose qui se répare, qui se reconnecte. Et ce sont vraiment des essais. Et le fait que vous soyez là, que vous soyez réunis toutes les deux, c'est quelque chose de bon. Merci infiniment d'être venu. Merci vraiment. Merci à l'ambassade de pouvoir organiser des réunions de ce genre. Merci à l'Alliance française. And thank you for the merci infiniment. Vraiment, to have such meetings with the Americans. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming together.
Merci. Very good. Thank you. ബുക്കിന്റെ മലയാള വിവർത്തനം നമ്മുടെ ഗ്രീൻ ബുക്സ് പ്രസിദ്ധീകരിച്ചത് വിവർത്തനം ചെയ്ത മലയാളം ബുക്സിലൂടെ ഗ്രീൻ ബുക്സിന്റെ പ്രതിനിധിയുണ്ട് ഗ്രീൻ ബുക്സിലൂടെ അവൈലബിൾ ആണ് എന്നുകൂടി അറിയിക്കുന്നു. താങ്ക് യു.